Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalica and you're gonna be a mildly spicier person after watching this video. Wasting the vampire's time. I read a story recently about a non-stop set of calls from a collection agency and someone mentioned the same happened to them with a charity. This reminded me of something that started in college and finally had me get back at them after a few years. Quotes may not be exact, but share the same tone and context as it happened years ago. In college, I was a scholarship recipient that required I be part of a club that was involved in community outreach for our program. We were awarded club points for participating in certain things and needed a certain amount of points per month to stay on the scholarship. This could be attending guest speaker lectures, volunteering off campus, or even giving blood. Needing some quick points, I decided to give blood since there was a blood drive on campus with low wait times and it counted a bit higher than some of the others points-wise. I found out later this would be a horrible mistake if I didn't want to be harassed to give blood after a really bad experience. Effectively, my blood clotted in the needle before filling an entire bag, and the person drawing my blood decided to twist and wiggle the needle in various directions while still in my arm. While I understand giving blood is important, at that point I decided to never do it again. They still took the partial and said it was good and might be used for a clotting agent, so at least my one and done did some good, right? Then I started receiving letters asking for blood. These went ignored. Then the calls started. They used to be roughly quarterly. Then after a year or so it went to monthly. By the time I graduated and was already working, the calls were now weekly. Each time I told them I would reach out to them if I ever wanted to donate and to not bother me as I wasn't interested. I used a call blocker, which brought me temporary relief. I finally had enough as they started calling me while at work and spiffing or using different numbers to call to get past my call blocker. I finally told them I was on the do not call list and to not call me or else I would have them fined. They informed me in their already rude tone that it didn't have to comply because they were a charity and I'd been hearing from them again, as was in her words, SOL. The calls now turned to daily calls after this one and sometimes multiple on the same day. Clearly punitive and generally wasted my time or distracted me when I'm trying to get work out. Finally, enough was enough. Now working in a health system, I realised that a lot of smaller operations, if nothing was scheduled, would sometimes scale back in later hours. Majority of staff leaving an hour early was basically standard at these IME, and it seems that the same held true for this blood donation centre. Walk-ins were only up to a specific time, but they would have someone stay till closing to draw blood if an appointment was scheduled. I was going to get my name off that call list or we'd both suffer. They called me on a morning asking for me to donate again. Hi, on behalf of Redacted, we're calling to ask for blood donations. Your donations are extremely important and life-saving. Something akin to this regular intro spiel. Yes, I've decided that if I could do some good, I might as well. When's the latest appointment you have? I typically have to work late. Really? That's wonderful! Our last appointment is 5:45 PM. Will that work? As expected, this was roughly an hour after the walk-in cutoff for this donation centre. Yes, that's wonderful. Please pen me in for that time. I didn't show or call. I get a call the next morning. Sir, it seems that you've missed your appointment. Did something happen and are you free to reschedule? Sorry, I had an emergency ticket at work, lie, and couldn't make it. I apologise for not contacting in advance. I'd love to reschedule. Same time today available? Excellent. Yes, that time is available. We look forward to seeing you. Again, I didn't show. Next day I get a third call. It generally went like this. Clearly agitated rep. Sir, you have not shown for 2 appointments. If you make appointments, you should show, but if not, you should at least call. Not only is it good manners, but it wastes our resources if you don't. Do you even plan on showing? If you do a no-show again, we can't reschedule further appointments with you. I'm terribly sorry. I had to stay late in an emergency meeting. Not. Tomorrow is Friday. We don't have any meetings and aren't required to stay late due to company guidelines. Big fat lie. I'll definitely be there. Same time. Sir, please make sure you show. If not, we will no longer be able to accept appointments with you. Oh, that's terrible. I'll definitely be there. And I didn't show. Calls stopped for almost a year. I did get one call later on. I asked them to schedule me again for the latest appointment, only for them to realise that for some reason I couldn't be scheduled. I then asked why they were calling me if I can't schedule. If I want to donate, I'll just walk in. They agreed it was odd to call without being able to schedule and confirmed I wouldn't hear from them again. I haven't heard from them since that final call. That was a couple years ago at least. I'm definitely all on board for donating blood. It's a fantastic thing to do, but if I had an experience like this person, I'd probably feel the same way. And then for them to use spoofed phone numbers in order to get around a call block definitely seems to at least fall under at least harassment. It's insane. Blood-sucking parasites. Get it? best friend tries to blackmail me to my law enforcement officer dad. This happened when we were juniors together in a new high school with my supposed best friend, Joey Bag of Donuts. I'm just gonna call him Joey. So Joey and I used to get into some good old-fashioned boys will be boys trouble. Huge bike ramps, fireworks, makeshift bombs, bonfires were common occurrences throughout our middle school years. We were thick as thieves. Fireworks, makeshift bombs and bonfires seems to indicate that they might be from Northern Ireland. This all changed our freshman year of high school. Okay, yeah, never mind, we don't call it that. Before, we'd joke around, but now his jokes were at my expense. Those first few months were rough with my best friend turning into my bully, but I eventually found a new crew to hang out with and things were looking up. My new buddies were your stereotypical stoner surfer types and were well known for it across campus. Of course, Joey must have taken note as I started to get texts asking me to hook him up with some bud. At this juncture, I still want to make amends with a lifelong best friend and invite him over for a smoke. We bond over both discovering and loving weed, reconcile, and things are seemingly back on track. I introduced Joey to my new crew, and things are off to the races. Our friendship seems to be good. We don't hang out nearly as much as we both have our own jobs, sports, hobbies, college prep, etc. But as far as I knew, things were great. Homecoming is fast approaching, and I got the courage to ask out a member of our crew, Jamie. She said yes. Next day, I have Joey track me down at my locker, getting in my face for asking out his woman. I was a bit taken back, because why would Jamie had said yes if they weren't dating? Well, it turns out, Joey had never even spoken to her, let alone asked her to homecoming, but he had this whole homecoming proposal thing worked up. I told him to pound sand. He acted like he was going to fight me and told me to watch my back. I think things are settled until I get home from work later that evening. As I mentioned in the title, my dad was a county sheriff at the time. It was my dad, one of his cop buddies, Joey and Joey's dad sitting at the kitchen table. I walk into some bull story of Joey being concerned that I was addicted to weed and was planning on making weed brownies for homecoming. What a little jerk. Now, I'm not a moron, so it's nothing but deny coming out of my mouth. I had no herb or pipes in the house, so I know I'm good. Well, it goes back and forth like this for a bit, and then a drug test gets brought up. I call his bluff. If I go down, Joey goes down too. So I tell my dad I'm good with a drug test as long as Joey takes one too. At this point, Joey exclaims something I'll never forget because he seems so sure of himself that he found a loophole to getting in trouble for smoking pot. I don't smoke it, I just sell it. LMAO, I could not hold it in. He admits that in front of 2 county sheriffs and his dad. So that's how my best friend ended up attending an all-boys boarding school his senior and remaining of junior year. I never did have to take that drug test and went to homecoming. However, my dad sat me down and not only talked about marijuana, but also about the 4th and 5th Amendments. Break into my base and ruin it? Fine, I'll crash your server. Sorry if the grammar is trash, I can't write for crap. Also, this would probably not even be seen, but eh. So I co-owned a Minecraft realm with some friends and we set up rules and everything, so I spent 5 hours spread out across 2 days, building a really nice house and stocking it with food and pets and furniture. But not long after that, I had problems with people griefing it and stealing my stuff. I tried to fix it, but nobody would admit to it, so I just gave up. I put barrier blocks all around the place which took another hour or so to complete. But finally, after hours of work and trying to fix everything, my house was impossible to get into if you didn't have creative mode on. So I leave for a few days to go on vacation, and it turns out that while I was gone, the owner broke into my house and completely ruined it. He stole all my food, any materials I had, killed my animals, a few pandas and a dog, and cats and a horse. Broke all the decorative blocks outside and inside and destroyed my bed. Also, he let everyone else in the server into my house, so I was pissed at this point. Vacation was horrible with my family, causing me to have a mental breakdown every day we were gone, and I had gotten home to my dad yelling at me because I left 1 cup in my room. So I was having a really bad day, and I really just wanted to die, and then I come back to everything that happened in my house while I was gone. So, for revenge, I took 5 command blocks and set them all to repeatedly spawn ender dragons in, and hopefully that'll mess up his server enough that he can't play on it anymore. I know it's messed up to try and completely ruin someone's server because of something like that, and I know it may seem like not a big deal to everyone, but after all the time I spent on that house, and after everything else, I just really wanted revenge. I don't know if there's a way the owner can fix it and stop everything that's happened. I know he can turn command blocks off and kill the ender dragons, but with how laggy it'll be, I'm hoping he won't even be able to log in. I kind of feel like while I was reading this, I was transported back to being like 14 again. Like, this is definitely a teenager's problem, along with getting shouted at for leaving dishes in your room. I just had like a big wave of nostalgia or something. Okay, so that's all for r/PettyRevenge. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord, and Patreon links are in my description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!